I hope everybody's doing good. So I have a really, really, really special guest, and we're gonna be having a conversation. It feels like we're on the brink of World War III. We're on the brink of a lot of crazy things in the world and the economy, and I feel like our culture is messed up, right? And that's why I'm really, really excited to bring on my friend Bryson and have a conversation about how we can have a shift in our culture. You know, the culture's gotten very demonic. It's gotten very things uh, on the conversation. So, and hey, my boy.
Hey, that's a crazy title.
I figured I warm everybody up.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a crazy title.
I mean, coming from somebody that I think both of us have experienced a lot of censorship in our little careers here on social media. Um, it kind of feels like we're living in China, man. It kind of feels like all those books were true.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, bro. I'm like censorship. It's so bad, bro, that I've gotten to the point where I'm like, it's just a part of it's just a part of it, and it's unfortunate. But it's almost like, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? That's how bad it is.
Well, you know what I think the worst part is it's actually the self censorship, right? Because you don't know when they're gonna censor you or why they're gonna censor you, so you start censoring yourself, right? Because if they just banned everybody, if they just kicked everybody off of social media, right, then people will go to another site and they would do something over there. But the real insidious, the real evil part of it is it's actually in communism they call this a struggle session, where they give you an inch, they take a mile. They give you an inch, they take a mile, right? And that's what's happening a lot in our culture. It's not necessarily that they're only the ones that are censoring us. It's that we're censoring ourselves now because we're scared. We want to be on these platforms. We want to use them because we want to get our message out. But at the same time, it's not only our messages getting censored, but now we're self-censoring ourselves.
Because you're right. People are scared of losing their platform, and I think that's a part of the problem in the country. Period. Because if you're willing to self censor because you're afraid to lose something, that means you're a slave to the thing that you're afraid to lose. That's why I just go about life, and I believe in Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and everything will be added unto you. And that's how I live my life. I fight whatever, as long as it's the truth in what I'm saying, as long as it's the biblical truth in what I'm saying, then that's gonna be what it's gonna be. And wherever the chips fall, whatever the cards that's dealt to me is the cards I deal with. So I feel like that's a good thing because you don't want to be a slave, especially to social media popularity and things of that nature. Because people will turn on you in a week's time. You know what I'm saying? So there's no point of even trying to censor yourself to please those type of people.
Definitely. Definitely. And I actually want to dive into that because that's a real interesting part of your story is how you uh, became a Christian and how you came back to God. So do you want to talk a little bit about, I guess, your before and after sort of story?
Yeah. So I mean, I I grew up in a Christian household. My grandma made sure, my grandmother made sure we were in the church. Clearly, but like most people, it was just you just call yourself a Christian and don't really know what it means. So I went to public school, grew up with both parents, but I went to public school. In public school, you get taught all the bad things. Your freshman and sophomore year in high school, your entire goal as a man is to not be a virgin any longer. You know what I'm saying? So, so I went through all of that, but the thing that changed me is, I was very popular in music where I'm from. I performed with 50 Cent. I performed with Two Chains. I performed with Future. I performed with all the people you can think of. I had music on the radio in North Carolina. I had the number one song on the radio in North Carolina. Um, but I always called myself a Christian. And I think what really changed me is when I used to call out sin, people used to hit me with but what are you doing? You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And that's a good response because what I was doing was getting drunk at nighttime, making out with random women in bars, performing disgusting music about women shaking their butts. This is what I was doing. So the real thing is like, who am I to even make a judgment on anybody else, which was a true situation. And that made me, that and another event where I almost got into an argument with the pastor at the church made me really it made me really dig into the Bible. And when I started digging into the Bible, I wasn't reading it to just to quote unquote know it better. I was reading to live it better. You know what I'm saying? And when I seen like First Corinthians 6:9-13 or Revelation 21:8, things of that nature, it just made me be like, wow, I don't want to be the type of person that's on this list because the people that's on this list is not gonna be good. You know, so then I started changing my life, but I hit a hiccup, a self-sabotaging hiccup, because the first thing I gave up was sex. So I was like, you know what? I'm not never having sex again until I get married, which is good. It's a good thing, right? The issue, though, is that being the first thing you give up is, as a man, everybody is shocked by that. So the problem is, I ended up being very, 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 not rightfully so, cocky in my faith. So I was still getting drunk. I was still making degenerate music. I was still making out random girls in bars. But I wasn't having sex out of wedlock, so I just thought I was the king of all Christians because I mean, when you went public school, you grew up with secular friends, nobody ain't withholding from sex. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they make you feel like you're the best Christian of all time. You know what I'm saying? And and but I got to the point where I was calling out my friends too. And then one day, my friend, his name is Cam, he's actually getting baptized soon, which is just it's crazy how it all pans out. But he texted me one day and he was like, "How do you get on us about the stuff we do? But I was just drunk with you last night. Like I just watched you take 12 shots of vodka. So how can you?" And then I was like, I'm not a drunkard, right? I'm not a drunkard. That's what I said. Because in my mind, the way I justified it, I was like, I don't rely on alcohol, but when I do drink, we get lit. But I don't rely on it. I don't drink every day. So that was my, you know what I'm saying? That was the way I
Justification,
felt.
yeah.
Yeah. So he sent me a Bible verse where it talks about getting drunk, period. And as a person that, called myself a reader of the Bible, I couldn't deny it. And it was so potent. I sat there all night on that. And I was like, he pulled a me on me. He pulled a Bible verse out on me, and it was in context. Because at first I went to the Bible verse. I was like, let's make sure it's in context before but it was in context, and I'm like, man, what am I doing? So, bro, that set me on the path, bro. I literally just, I was just thinking about it more to make sure I wasn't missing anything, man. I just transformed my life to be more like the Bible tells you to be. So that's my journey to pretty much where I am now.
Yeah, definitely. No, I can definitely relate. I mean, I grew up in the Catholic Church. I feel like a lot of Latinos grow up Catholic. That's a very normal thing. But then we go and we sin. We sin on the weekends and then go to church on Sunday and try to confess, right? And definitely in this culture lends itself to a lot of evil behavior. It promotes it. So the analogy that I always give is Rick Ross. When I was growing up, Rick Ross was popular, and he's just on the TV, on the music, on the radio. I'm selling drugs. I'm selling keys. I'm selling keys. And it's like, but all those cars in the music videos, you didn't get them from selling keys.
Yep.
So the culture in a lot of ways it's lying to the youth and it's poisoning the youth. And then I have friends of mine who killed each other. I got friends of mine who are doing life in jail. I got friends of mine who got knocked for all these different types of things, all these different types of behaviors because they were listening to music and the music was poisoning them. So I would like to, I guess, circle back to the music industry. What type of impact do you feel is needed in the music industry to shift the culture from something that's demonic to something that is uplifting and is going to empower people?
have to make that cool. And like this is the bittersweet thing about social media. Social media has a lot of terrible stuff, but it does give people a small chance, like artists like myself. It gives us a small opportunity to compete with a lot of these labels. I mean, it's still everything is still rigged, and people don't understand. If you can watch a Breakfast Club interview where one of like a label owner was in there, he said they're gonna push the degeneracy because that's what people they think that's what people would rather hear over positivity, which is funny because in the '90s, the early '90s, you had bad stuff on the radio, but you also had to keep your head up. You also had to change this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything didn't, every single piece of the art of rap didn't have to be degenerate, but now you don't have those type of positive songs. You don't even have quality love songs anymore about just loving your wife. It's all about sex and everything is degenerate. And the labels are purposefully pushing that, and that's who they lift up. So the only way to
And who
combat
owns
it
and who
is,
owns the labels?
you say, who owns the labels? Depends on what you mean. I mean, secular Jews own a lot of them, but you also have, listen,
So who's the they? That's what I want to know. Who's the they? Well,
yeah.
we always talk about they because people come in my comments all the time talking about they.
But let me
They
say,
want to do this. They want to kill Trump, or Trump killed it. Trump's own
well,
people
that's
killed
different.
himself. I'm like, who's the
So
they
so
though?
so, so there are different ways, but let me explain something. Right, there are most record labels are owned or funded by secular Jews, but here's the other half of it. I worked with Kanye last year, right? And Kanye told me, maybe I shouldn't say this. I don't know. I'm already in the middle of it now. But Kanye told me, he was like, people mad at me for calling out Jews. He was like, Catholics own a lot of stuff too. You know what I'm saying? When you know what I'm saying? When you look into it, so the they is really dependent on the situation. But I will say at record labels, it's the secular Jews, but it's because all they care about is money. And all they doing is offering these artists that they already know make degenerate music, and they're offering them about hundreds of thousands of dollars up front. And these artists are gladly taking that money, signing their life away to continue making degenerate music. So that's what. So it's really like a circular cycle. That
Well, and I
it's
think they
not
don't
just
care because they're not poisoning their community. Like their community ain't listening to a lot of stuff for the most part. Even though that's changing with culture, but
well.
you know,
So people, secular Jews and religious Jews are completely different things.
true.
And most Jews are secular. Secular Jews, 9 times out of 10, they don't even believe in God.
Yeah, basically
You
like
know what I'm saying?
atheists.
They're
Yeah,
they're atheists. The most famous atheist is a secular Jew. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So they are listening to this type of degenerate music if they're listening to rap music, but the ones that run it, they're attempting to make money. But not only are they making money, they can sign a degenerate person like Sexy Red and promote a few singles and then shell Sexy Red, as long as they get that agenda out. You know, because artists get shelled. You know what I'm saying? They let you do they let you do one single, they get it popular, but they paid a lot of money to make it popular, so they're not making no money back. But they did what they wanted to do was getting it popular, and then they just shelved the artist and used the artist as a tax write off. So I mean, these labels push degeneracy, and the problem with Christian
Well,
hip hop.
legally, I don't even think a lot of these songs would have never got played on the radio back then. You're talking about the '90s. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of
wouldn't.
this stuff wouldn't even be aired because it wouldn't be allowed to be aired.
Oh yeah, because it's too disgusting. I mean, but not only that, even when you get to the Christian hip hop scene, most of the music is Jesus is my boyfriend music. So it's nothing convicting there.
Mm.
It's like a lot of this Christian, the popular Christian rap music, it's not making anybody want to change. All it is secular music with Jesus in front of it. You know what I'm saying? So, but the good thing, we got people like me, people like Tyson James, Marcus Rogers, Karen DeLight, Kid Lee, Noble. I can name a list of Christian artists that are gaining a following, maybe not as fast as secular artists, maybe not as fast as the mainstream Christian artists with the labels, with the funding. But there's a lot of people that are gaining steam because people are yearning for this type of music, exposing wickedness. You know what I'm saying? And doing all these things, and people are yearning for this type of music because a lot of people are tired of Sexy Red. A lot of people are tired of the degenerate music, and we give it to them. Now it's still hard, and
Well,
because
and
I mean,
you're also walking a fine line between keeping it entertaining and keeping it educational and uplifting and empowering,
well,
right?
I came from secular music, so it's like unlike a lot of Christian artists, I'm not the person that didn't make it in secular rap, so I'm starting to do Christian rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially in North Carolina, where I'm from, my rap group was the rap group. I had a song in movies when I was in high school. I had songs go viral in high school. I was working with record labels when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I was on 106 in Park, which you probably know. I was on 106 in Park twice when I was in high school. I performed with most artists you can think of during that time, getting paid to perform, not just paying to open up. No, no, no. I was getting paid to perform with a lot of these artists. So I had success with writing for other people, doing a lot in secular music, especially in the North Carolina scene of hip hop. Um, and I really risked a lot of that. Well, it seems like I was risking it at the time when I decided to make music about my political beliefs or my religious beliefs. My sister's in the chat, Gabrielle Simone. She's telling you because she used to go to the concerts with us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not the person that like didn't have success. Like the only difference between me making secular music and this now is like because Christian rap, everybody automatically views it as corny, and this is new ground for me because when I was growing up, people viewed me as a musical prodigy. Like I was viewed as a musical genius. Like, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying like they're like people. That's why I got a lot of managers. That's why I got musical songs on the radio because I was viewed that way when it came to music. But in Christian rap, it's hard to get viewed that way because people automatically view it as corny. So I feel like it's a bit different there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, for me, it's the opposite. For me, a lot of this stuff now just seems corny, and I can't even listen to it. I got to a point a couple years back. I was making money. Had aspirations to start a family and do all these good things, and I can't listen to this. If I'm in the car on my way to work or on my way to wherever, and the song is about me cheating on my wife and my wife cheating on me and me beating on my wife and my wife beating on me and us both getting drunk and me going to jail, then all those things are going to manifest in my life because in the back of my mind that's the programming that's running. So I got to a phase probably 5 years ago or so that I just stopped listening to rap. I can't do it because I'm gonna be programming my brain, pop a perk, and all this stuff is gonna be rolling in the back of my brain. So I can't even listen to a lot of this stuff anymore.
Bro, secular music is witchcraft because
Mm.
you gotta think about it, bro. Even in the Bible, God said, "Sing for me," because like even when we read the Book of Psalms, there's a bunch of songs. You know what I'm saying? Music is very powerful. Think about it. There's not many times where you're not listening to music. Are you watching TV? Every commercial has music. You watching a movie? Every movie has music.
Yeah.
You walk to a grocery store? You're listening to music. Music. Everybody understands how powerful music is. So when these artists and people always act like I'm not influenced by music, yeah, right. When these artists are putting this stuff in his music and the beats are knocking or whatever genre you like and this just sounds perfect to you, that's influencing you in a certain way. That's why certain songs you listen to in the gym. Nobody want to hear a sad song in the gym. You listen to stuff that's hype because it helps you get better. I listen to Christian rap on my walks when I'm walking trying to get the 10,000 steps in because it helps me get. So everybody understands how music can affect the spirit, can affect your mind, can affect your mood. Music can affect everything. So when all you're getting pushed with is murder, sex, drugs, everything, that's going to be real. That's why if you look up how many kids are doing other drugs outside of just the basic ones people used to do back in the day, they're not going to admit it, but it's because of the music. This music, like, can be used for good or it can be used for evil. Like even at weddings, you play wedding music. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it get people in the mood. Every TV show has an intro with music to get you in the mood. Music is so powerful, bro. And we have like, and Satan has just used it and done what he has done to it.
Yeah, and I think that's a powerful distinction for people to make is that, it can be a tool that can empower you, it could be a weapon that can be used to destroy you, and there's so much subliminal messaging that goes into music nowadays. And and even down to the melodies, right? Are there certain frequencies and melodies that evoke different responses and stuff like that?
There are studies on that,
There's a
but
whole science to it.
yeah, but there is a science to it, but it's not as potent as people think. Because if you go throughout history, there was always a specific set hertz that most songs were on, and it didn't change the fact that happy songs made you happy and sad songs make you sad. So
Mm-hmm.
if I make a song about being depressed in 432 hertz, then I make a song about being happy at 432 hertz. The happy sounding song is still gonna make you happy, and the sad sounding song is still going to make you sad.
Mm, got that. There's one thing I wanted to touch on earlier. You were mentioning Kanye when he was going through all that controversy. One of the things that I wish he would have done is instead of getting on podcasts and sharing his ideas, I wish he would have made some songs about it. I felt like he went through an era where he had some stuff to say, and his most powerful, iconic, what made him a billionaire communication method was music. And for whatever reason, he decided to not use that communication method to get the message out. And that's why I feel like it may have fell on deaf ears on some method. But do you have any, I guess, ideas why you think he didn't take to the pen? And because I was just telling my wife, preparing for this live, I was trying to explain who you were, and I was like, Christian rapper like Kirk Franklin. It's like, no, no, not like that. It's like kind of like Immortal Technique. It's like think about like an Immortal Technique, but Christian
Yeah.
and really likes Trump.
What
Uh,
what I used to like Trump at least, but the thing the thing with Kanye is I think he is overly worried about what the kids like, and I know this for a fact. And I think a lot of people around him view him as that way too. But the issue with this is, even when Kanye got popular in music, it wasn't about what the kids liked. It was about what he liked. Through the Wire was never a song that was catered towards the kids. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? All of the lights wasn't catered towards kids. Power wasn't catered towards kids. Power, like these songs are how you really felt in the moment and you were expressing yourself through the music and it sounded genuine. And so, like, even when I was working with Kanye, it was so easy to write for him because I'm just writing for myself,
mm,
really. You're going through persecution, he's going through it at a bigger level. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You're going through persecution, we're hitting God first. All this is just me writing for myself, just writing for him. But there was an argument while I was there in Tokyo, and some people wanted Kanye to go like to make a classic album route, and some people was like, no, he need to try to make music for the kids, and and he chose the route to make music for the kids, and he left the Christianity alone. And I think the problem
And,
is
and
the
and that was like one of my favorite albums. That was so when he was going through that journey, it was like, oh man, And then now I listen to what's the new one, Carnival,
but
and I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, oh man, we went from God to Carnival, like,
Yeah, listen. The Vultures album is the album that I was supposed to be working on, and it was all Christian at first. Well, what I heard it was Christian, and then all of a sudden it just became all demonic stuff. Which is why none of my lyrics were used. But like I'm telling you, with Kanye, man, if he just go back to making music, like, how do you feel? What are you going through? You're going through so much. Put that in music. That's what music is for.
oh, you know what? I saw something that went viral, and they used Kanye's voice. So it was AI. It was fake. It wasn't really Kanye. But it was talking about, yeah, they froze my bank accounts and they did this and they did that. I was like, oh man, I wish this was real. Like my wife left me. They stole my wife and blah, blah, blah. And it was fake. But that's the Kanye we want. Tell us how you really feel. Don't make the music that you think's gonna trend. You
Bro,
know.
I just made a song called Lost. Probably gonna be on my next album dropping next year. And I was listening to it with my wife, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, this sounds like some Kanye stuff." And she said, not only that, it sounded like it's meant for Kanye. She said it felt like I wrote it towards Kanye, and it was about me like talking to people like, if you lost, Jesus will find you, but you have to accept Jesus. You know what I'm saying? You have to change the way you're doing. You have to change the way you're living. You know, so you can't keep running from him and then just asking him to save you. You have to stop. And sometimes God put things in your life forces you to stop. And I thought about it, I was like, this is some Kanye stuff. It's just not no new Kanye stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is like a vintage Kanye venting on music and man, that's why I like the Jesus King album. If you listen to it, he's venting about life. You know what I'm saying? But from a Christian perspective, and it was a beautiful piece of art. And like when you listen to the Vultures album, it's like the production is great. I mean, it's Kanye, but the lyricism and the topics are just so like it felt beneath Kanye. Like it felt, but like what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? But it's because he's trying to cater to the kids.
Yeah, yeah. Let's switch topics to Trump. I saw the controversy on the Twitter space. Twitter likes to blow things out of proportion. What's the deal with you and Trump, man? You're not rocking with your boy Trump no
No,
more?
very simple. And my reasons why are all pretty valid. Um, LGBT, abortion, vaccines, those are three strikes right there. And most people they don't disagree with what I'm saying. They be like, "Oh yeah,
Mm.
you're right," but I'm still voting Trump. And it's like, okay, that's your prerogative. But you know what I'm saying? Because what people will argue is this person represents 80% of your values, but no. And politics is not like that anyway. Every single person has main things that steers them a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And like let's say immigration. For some people immigration is here. For others immigration is here. If your immigration is here, that means it's not just the same percentage points as the other topics. That means this is a high percentage. This is a piece of percentage. You know what I'm saying? Immigration here. So for me, when we talk about LGBT and abortion, that's all here.
So what specifically the abortion topic? I'm pretty well versed on where you guys disagree. We can dive into that next. On LGBT, where did he lose you?
Well, it's not really lost, but part of it is my fault because a lot of the stuff that the Trump campaign did, they keep things under wraps. Like
Mm.
perfect example, most Trump supporters don't know that he's held two LGBT fundraisers this year alone. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't know that because when it comes to the LGBT stuff, yeah, it's crazy, and you can look it up. But when it comes to LGBT stuff, he'll say it, but he'll make sure to say it in ways where it doesn't reach the masses of his following. So, like when he held up the LGBT flag, me and my friends, we thought that was AI. Because in our minds, there's no way Trump will hold up an LGBT flag. I didn't know that he said Bruce Jenner can use any bathroom she wants in Mar-a-Lago. I don't remember seeing that. So part of it was ignorance. But the issue is when he hosted an LGBT gala at Mar-a-Lago in 2022.
Mm.
That's like, oh, that's last straw. Because I mean, like I just watched conservatives getting mad at the White House for hosting an LGBT event. So if Trump gonna do it at his home, I mean, I'm just not with it. And for me, I've called out Christian rappers for less. I don't even know a Christian rapper that hosted an LGBT party, but I called out Lecrae for just being afraid to answer a question on homosexuality. So I can't be a hypocrite. So with the LGBT stuff, Trump he just takes it too far. But as somebody that worked with
Could,
the campaign,
could could I
he's
push
trying
could
to,
I push back with you on one
of
thing?
course.
So if President Trump wants to be the president again to America, doesn't he have to be president to everybody in America?
No,
And isn't a big percentage of that these LGBT people who are out here?
no.
Like besides just talking to them, what else was it that turned you off? You know what I
I
mean?
mean, well, for starters, to respond to the point, the answer is no. No politician is going to represent all Americans. That's why people vote, and that's why there's always a near 50-50 split in popular vote
Yeah.
because nobody represents everybody. You know what I'm saying? So Uh, Trump wasn't president for all people in 2016 when he won either. Half the country hated Trump in 2016. So not only that, if you look at the 2022 midterms when Trump was peak pandering to the LGBT, Republicans actually lost some of the LGBT vote. At maximum, Republicans get 15% of the LGBT vote, and you don't even need it in the first place. The LGBT is not going to vote Republican because even when you pander to them, you're not pandering as much as the left. So why would they support you?
Yeah.
You're not even. That's like saying I want a double cheeseburger, and there's two places beside each other. one restaurant never sold cheeseburgers. This one sell a double cheeseburger. This restaurant finally caves and starts selling cheeseburgers, but they don't sell doubles, just a single. And you're like, I'm still not going there because I want a double. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that whole plan of pandering to the LGBT doesn't work. The only thing you can do is lose some of the supporters that take that issue very seriously. So, and not only that, when he hosted the LGBT party at Mar-a-Lago, he said he's going to fight very hard with the gay community, which is just very suspect in itself. And then he actually said he wants to
A fight
declare.
for what? What are they fighting for? That's what I'm trying to say. Like what?
You know, I don't know. What are you fighting for? Y'all already own everything. What are y'all fighting for? You're fighting for nothing. He just said that to pander. He said he just Trump just said it to pander, and then he says he's going to decriminalize homosexuality across the globe. Wait, leave people alone? Who are you to go tell another country what they can do about being gay? So now you're trying to force immorality on other countries, which to me is just, I mean, that's just bottom tier disgusting. So the LGBT, he just a walking L.
Well, and real quick, I want to say one thing. Just in general, of you disagreeing with Trump and going against him, what that shows me is that you're actually a free thinker. You're actually thinking for yourself, and you're not just in a cult, and you're not just a groupie, and you're not just brainwashed, and you're not just gonna listen to whatever one man says. You're actually gonna listen to your heart and listen to your conscience, right?
It's not,
So I
it,
respected you like 10 times
bro,
more when I saw that. I was like,
bro,
oh, he's thinking for
bro.
himself. Oh, now I'm gonna pay attention more,
It's,
you know?
it's not even my heart or conscience. I've made myself clear since the beginning. I put God first. That's the Bible included because it has to be. Nobody is getting put before God. I don't care if I lose 20,000 followers. I don't care if I lose $20,000.
Mm.
God has to come first. Period. Across the board.
Well,
So
and the
Trump.
funny thing is, somebody's asking in the comments about lesser of two evils. That's it. Sounds like the same argument they told people to vote for Hillary Clinton. They were like, "Oh, well, she's bombing people in other countries, but she's really good on LGBT." Like the same thing, and it's like,
Listen, Trump is better than Kamala. We are not
we all know
not
that.
not listen. Not really on the topics that I find passionate about, but when it comes to economics, even though Kamala has like switched her tone about economics and sort of echoing the same things Trump will echo, you know what I'm saying? We lived under Trump, so we lived under Democrat, so it's like, I'm gonna give Trump the edge on the economy. I believe he'll actually try to get taxes cut. But even on that, it's like he didn't get the permanent middle class tax cuts when Republicans had the entire Congress. He only got a temporary tax cut for the middle class passed. You know what I'm saying? And he passed some good things, but even like tariffs, people think tariffs is a good thing. Did y'all know the reason that your body's being filled with high fructose corn syrup is partially due to the American Spanish War that was about tariffs on sugar? That's why it's so hard for America to get real sugar in here because of tariff place. Tariffs has its place when it can be used for good, but in most cases, tariffs are not good. You know what I'm saying? So again, like Trump is better than Kamala on the economy, but once you really dig into the economy, it's like, you know what I'm saying? We can do better on that point also.
Well, and if you're waiting for the president to fix your economic situation, you already lost. Like, that's the thing. When I have my personal friends and family members and really close people, and they come to me and they're like, "Oh, who you gonna vote for?" I'm I'm like, man, listen, vote is for broke people. I'm sorry. Like, if you're waiting for the vote, like, go out there and vote for who you believe in and speak your mind and free speech and all that. But if you're waiting for a vote to save you, you already lost the battle. You
Yeah.
know.
Also, somebody in the comments said if perfection is a standard, there's no one to vote for. We have to stop this fake narrative that somebody wants a perfect candidate. Can we please stop? No, nobody has ever said they want a perfect candidate.
Yeah.
A basic run-of-the-mill Republican candidate is against same-sex marriage, is against abortion. That's the typical Republican. That's Mitt Romney. That's George Bush. That's your typical Republican. We're asking for a typical Republican, not a perfect one. We just don't want. The only reason most Christians vote Republican is because of these issues. So
Yeah.
if you're going to completely abandon the Christian perspective on these issues, it's not that people are asking for somebody perfect. You're trying to sell out our values to get liberals that's not going to vote for you. So it just doesn't. I mean, I look at it this way: Trump. This election should have been such an easy election for Trump. Easy. But he just keeps selling out core voters in a weird attempt to get moderates that, and it doesn't make sense because there's a better way to get moderates. Perfect example, like on Project 2025. Stop disrespecting people that support Project 2025 because most are Christians. What you
Mhm.
should say is Project 2025 is not my plan. If you like the plan, fine, but stop saying it's mine. Such a basic statement he can make. Instead, because he's trying so hard to pander to the liberals, is Project 2025 was made by a bunch of radical extremists. You're using the same language liberals use against you. And the worst part is it doesn't even work. They still connect Trump to Project 2025, and he has condemned it 80,000 times. But every time Trump
Yo,
brings it up,
Kamala got signs. There's lawn signs right now that say "Stop Project 2025."
that's what. Listen, it is so weird because Trump has attempted to separate himself from it 1,000 times and it hasn't worked. Every time Trump brings it up, it's those are radical extremists that support that. Why disrespect the Christians that support it? Just say it's not your plan. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. It doesn't. All the Trump trying to pander to the left, it hasn't worked this entire campaign, and we are less than 2 months away from election day. Switch the plan. All you do is pissing off your own supporters because liberals don't care. I haven't seen a liberal yet that say, "I found out that Project 2025 wasn't Trump's plan and it made me support him." I haven't heard a soul say that yet. So so
Yeah.
so so Trump is probably running the worst campaign I've ever seen a day in my life.
Well, that debate, I was so mad because he should have mopped the floor with her, and it he just came off as unprepared, as not having like basically he just showed up and winged it, you know,
And
and
she was prepared. I
and
ain't gonna lie.
she was she was like a chat GPT
Yeah, yeah,
president.
yeah,
Like they just
yeah.
loaded up the Obama script and press play and that was it. And she wasn't even saying nothing, but whatever she was saying sounded good. You
Well,
know,
see,
they would ask her a question and she'd be like 7 years ago, and that's why all Americans need freedom and
I,
equality. And it's like, all right, great.
the issue with that debate is every time we hear Kamala speak in public, she sounds stupid. So I think Trump was expecting the stupid Kamala, not the
Yeah.
not the I prepared for this Kamala. And he got the unprepared for this Kamala. Like even I'm gonna tell you what I knew. I was like, yeah, Trump, he didn't know what he was in for. When he said you trying to take away the guns, and she said, first off, me and Tim Walz are gun owners. We're not taking anybody gun. Like you cannot, if you're a Democrat and trying to seem reasonable, that's the most perfect response you can give. Was she lying? Most likely. I highly doubt that girl know the name of any gun brand, period. But to the people watching, that sounded so beautiful. It's like, oh, maybe she isn't that crazy. You know what I'm saying? And Trump looked angry. He fell for all of her traps. Like, I mean,
Well, and
Trump,
that's preparation. That was Kamala for the last month that she wasn't doing no interviews. She was preparing for that debate.
good point. Good point. Or they probably gave her the questions
They,
beforehand. But
but
either,
but she was preparing the answers.
hey, hey,
She was sitting there like, oh, when they ask me about guns, I'm gonna say that me and my VP are gun owners.
yeah, yeah,
That was so
yeah, 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 yeah.
rehearsed that
Yeah, oh,
that wasn't off the top. No,
it
that
could
was
have
for
been.
preparation.
It could have been off the top. I've watched Kamala Harris speak quite a few times. I know for a fact that wasn't off no top. But
No,
it
off
was,
the top is when she said Tupac was the best rapper
yeah,
alive.
yeah, yeah, that's it. But Kamala was prepared. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think Trump wasn't prepared. I think he was expecting a female Biden, but this ain't Biden. So
Hmm.
uh I don't think Trump did good in that debate at all. And to be frank, I don't think nobody really made their case to the other side. But if I was a betting man and I wanted to guess who moderates felt like won that debate, I feel like most moderates would probably say Kamala.
Yeah. Well, and especially if if you're not fact checking anything. If you're watching that debate in an echo chamber and you don't have any other facts outside of that debate, then yeah, Kamala won. You
Oh,
know?
oh yeah.
Now,
I mean, and people say she's lying.
so what?
Yeah, but
That's
like,
politics. She lied better than him, so
yes,
then
because
she
Trump
wins.
Trump was on there lying too, but she just lied a little better. That's all that was. You know what I'm saying? I'm against lying, period. But if I place myself in the position of your average ignorant American that's not about to do no real research, our research is watching the news, then I feel like they're gonna think Kamala won.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing that I think was a big misstep with Trump recently in the campaign was his VP pick. They were floating around that he might pick Kennedy, he might pick Tulsi, he might pick Vivek, right? He might pick Tucker, he might pick Elon. I feel like any of the other, all those Avenger pictures that they're floating out there, like this is the Liberty ticket. Any of those people would have been better than Vance, who the second that he was claimed as VP, it started going viral. Him in 2016 talking bad about Trump,
I mean,
and
that would have happened with all of them. Tulsi Gabbard called Trump racist. RFK talked bad about Trump, and they all liberals anyway. I honestly feel like I don't feel like Vance was the best pick. I feel like Byron Donald should have been would have probably been the best pick. I'm not a big fan of him either. I'm talking about strictly from a marketing perspective. Um, because honestly, if you would have picked Tulsi Gabbard, I know it's not like a lot of conservatives like her, but still 40% of conservatives hate her because he's a flaming liberal that switches her belief system whenever she gets a chance.
mm,
And RFK would have been good marketing wise, but he's a crazy liberal too. But he would have been better marketing wise. Um, Probably RFK or Byron would have been probably the best picks. But I don't think JD Vance was a bad pick, to be honest. Um, I don't think it was a bad pick. No matter who Trump would have picked, they would have got blasted by the media. I mean, regardless of the situation. Democrats already don't like RFK. They would have attacked Tulsi Gabbard too. So I mean, you know, I don't think the VP pick changed. Like, listen, the problem with Trump campaign is not the VP pick. The problem with Trump campaign is it's the worst ran campaign I've ever seen a day in my life.
mm.
But
Well, I was speaking to a friend of mine who's like an insider, worked with Bush in the White House back then, and been in DC for whatever for decades. And he told me an interesting fact. He said basically in 2016, none of the insiders who actually had experience wanted to work with Trump because it was like political suicide. Like Trump ain't gonna win. You know it's gonna be Hillary, so we don't want to be even associated with this toxic brand. So the traditional political campaign managers who know how to run campaigns don't really work for Trump. And then what ended up happening is you have a lot of people who are basically new to politics and inexperienced that are working on his campaign.
well, but the issue is he won in 2016.
Oh yeah.
So so when Trump was the most conservative, he won.
Mhm.
When Trump panders, he loses. This shouldn't be controversial though, because the reason Trump has so much support is he had the baseline Republican support because they're going to support Ray regardless, and he talked like a normal human being. He didn't seem like a politician. Trump's whole selling point in 2016 was "I'm not a politician," and I find it funny now when he changes his views in 24 hours or panders to a group and somebody calls it out. But people say, "Well, he's a politician; he has to." That's not a good selling point for Trump. Trump can't win being a politician. That's not why people like Trump to begin with. People like Trump because he wasn't a politician. He wasn't afraid of the media. He wasn't afraid of the left and what they said about him. So
Well,
the
I feel
that
like
Trump,
he became afraid of the media when he got canceled like no other person has ever been canceled. Like they closed down his Stripe. He couldn't sell hats. They blocked him on every single social media platform. A sitting president. He was still president. And they blasted him off of every single social media app. The same time when they killed Parler, and they did basically a coup. They did a
they
digital
did.
coup. And you know the thing is, the president's supposed to have the emergency broadcast system so that he could talk to the people. It's supposed to be actually an important fact that the president can communicate with the with the American public. And they did a coup. Social media companies did a coup against him and silenced his voice. So I think after that is a different man.
But that's not good then,
Yeah,
because I don't that takes away his appeal.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think it happened when this is a conspiracy theory of mine, so I'm not about to say a fact. This is a conspiracy theory, not a fact. Conspiracy theory, not a fact. I think when his brother died, I think
Mm,
that's when Trump changed. I think when Trump's brother died, I think that's when we started getting a new Trump.
mm.
That's what I think. That's
And
my
why do you think
conspiracy theory.
you just think that you think somebody did that or
Yes, and I think and I think Trump knew it, and I think Trump said he gonna have to bend a little bit. But unfortunately, like I said, here go the thing, man. God has to come first with me, like I always say. So when Trump started, you know, very blatantly going against God, I view that as going against me. So I treat him the same way I treat anybody else. So it's it's unfortunate because clearly financially for me it would have been best to continue supporting Trump. I had a Christian fan base. I had a Trump fan base. We all have a good time. It's all mixed together. I could have dropped the Trump 2024 song. It would have went number one on the charts, no matter what. Financially for me, it's better to continue supporting Trump. But who would I be? I feel like people look at me as somebody that's gonna stand on Bible regardless, somebody that's gonna stand on God regardless. I have to be consistent in my faith, because my values haven't changed. If he listen to my old music, I said the same thing. I've always said abortion should be illegal. I've always said homosexuality is an abomination. I've always been anti-vax. I haven't changed a bit in my value system. Trump has moved his positions more to the
mm,
left, and I just decided not to go with him.
mm,
I just decided not to go with him. So, um, people are like, oh, Bryson, you use Trump. I donated over $1,000 to Trump in the years I was supporting him. I actually went out my house and recorded myself voting for Trump. I did what I was supposed to do as somebody that claimed to be a Trump supporter. That can't be a grift. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, what would be a grift is if behind the scenes, I'm telling people I don't respect Trump anymore, but publicly, because I want to make some money acting like I do. That's fake. That's grifting. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with me, everything has to be God first, period.
No, I love that and I respect that. And I know from being on a lot of these inside circles that there's a lot of people that are like that. A lot of people who, they wear the red hat on social media, but behind closed doors, they don't like and they disagree
I
with a lot of things.
know
But they,
some.
yeah,
I know some that don't actually support Trump, but it'd be bad for their brand to say it.
yeah,
And it's cool. Do you? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, bro, everybody isn't scared to lose. Listen, every most people, yes, but not everybody. Everybody doesn't live for followers and glory for themselves. So when you treat everybody like that, at some point you're gonna run into somebody where it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's somebody said Trump has closer values to the faith. Like, this is a fake narrative we have to stop, bro. I will say Trump is better than Kamala. Trump supports 96% of 98% of abortions. So if Kamala Harris supports the other 2%, how much better is Trump? Trump already said the 6 week abortion ban is too harsh. Trump has pretty much proposed a 13-week abortion ban, right? Sometimes he talks about a 20-week abortion ban. 96% of abortions happen in the first 15 weeks. So if you extend an abortion ban to 15 weeks, that may look good on paper. That's better than Kamala. No, it isn't. That's 96% of abortions. Also, Trump supports all the exceptions: rape, incest, life of the mother. That's another 2% of abortions combined. That means Trump supports 98% of abortions. And then on LGBT, he's what? He doesn't want kids to cut their penis off? That's baseline. I know atheists that don't think that should be done. You don't get no points with me because you talk about something basic that nobody is afraid to say. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to same-sex marriage, which is people don't forget about the slippery slope. The reason we are here, the reason y'all sons are trying to cut off their penises and your daughters are trying to take testosterone pills is because People voted on marriage. That's how we got here. We wouldn't be here if you didn't give an inch. You gave an inch, and they took a mile. A mile. They done took the whole track. They done took the whole Olympics. You know what I'm saying? So when people say, you know what I'm saying, he's closest to the faith, no, he's not. He's completely in support of the LGBT. Trump is completely in support of abortion. Trump calls himself the father of the vaccine, which Christians like me believe. Christians like me, I believe the vaccine may not have been the mark itself, but it was a precursor to the mark. It was a test run for the mark.
Yeah.
So to me, Trump calls himself the father of the precursor to the mark. So for a Christian, you say he aligns. There's in no way does Trump align with the faith. He don't even get the basics right. He said in an interview he doesn't ask God for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, I guess it's a tad bit closer to Kamala Harris if you want to be super duper technical. But if there was a middle ground, which there isn't one, but if there was a middle ground, if you have a middle right here, you have Satan right here, you have God right here. Trump is not even here. Trump is over here. He may not be like off the edge, but he over here for sure. So we said he lies closer to our faith. I don't know what that means. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
said
Yeah. And
Kamala Harris is a witch. Well, God forgive me, because witches are real. She is she demonic. That's for sure. I ain't gonna say she a witch. It's on the bear false witness, but that girl demonic for sure.
all right. So I know we're running low on time. I got a question. So you're not voting for Trump. Who you voting for? You voting for Joe Stein? Bernie Sanders? Where are we
Listen,
going?
I,
You
I,
gonna
I,
write in
was,
Jesus? You gonna write it in?
I thought about writing in Jesus. I thought about just voting locally and just leaving a presidential one blank. But because of how terribly Trump supporters treat people
Mm,
with valid reasons that disagree with Trump, I'm voting a third party because I want to know that my vote actually went to somebody to compete with Trump and Kamala.
mm,
Because the way Trump supporters treat people, like look how they treated Kyle Rittenhouse. Look how they treated me. We were under the impression that y'all supported us because of our value system. And y'all supported us because we was pro-life. We was pro-gun. We was pro-God. We was against illegal immigration. We were for lower taxes. We were under the impression that we were getting support because of our actual values. So now that we know that it wasn't about that, we were just tools to
mm.
be used because we support Trump. To the point where it was like, Bryson, delete your songs that I made from scratch that came out of my brain, that I paid for studio time for, that I paid to promote. Me do that. So when I saw how terrible these group of people are, it's not all of MAGA, but there's a good 20-30% of MAGA. They are just bad people. They are
They're just as
cultists.
bad as the left.
Worse. Because they tell you they're not the left. See, the left, they're very clear in what they do. The
Mm,
right, they'll give you the perception that they're against cancel culture. Give you the perception the wolves in sheep's clothing is always worse than a wolf.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because the wolf that show his teeth is easy. It's like Sexy Red versus Taylor Swift. It's easy to know Sexy Red is bad. Taylor Swift, though, sometimes she can trick you. That's what makes her worse than Sexy Red. Um, so I feel like there's like 30% of MAGA, and they are such evil spirited people that I have to vote for another person. And I ain't voting for a third party. Most likely, the
The
dang,
libertarian guy's gay.
no, man, come on now. You know I ain't voting for no you know I ain't never voting for no libertarian. But I'll talk about dang, I've been promoting them a little bit. Crap, how did I forget? Um, I forgot the name. I feel so bad 'cause this is the perfect time
He's
to
like,
promote
don't
them,
say
bro.
it now because it's gonna look bad. Don't
Yeah,
even say it. Say you're still thinking about it. We consider it all the
yeah,
options.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Dang, I feel so bad right now. But yeah, there is a third party that I'm actually voting for, and they're not even perfect. Um, some of the stuff is kind of liberal. Like when it's about social justice, it's kind of liberal. But when it comes to homosexuality, they're completely against it. Marriage is only between a man and a woman. When it comes to abortion, they're completely against it. When it comes to the vaccines, they're against it. So it's like they get the basics right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm 90% sure I'm voting for for this third party. It's still possible I write Jesus in. It just depends.
Well, Bryson, I appreciate you, man. I gotta get you in the studio here in Miami next time you're in town.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, bro. I'm with it. Let's do it.
All right, my brother. Before we log off, any last words where you want to send the people?
Uh, Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and everything will be added unto you. So I want to send people to the Bible. And also, if you haven't seen the Matt Walsh Am I Racist movie, go see it. I did the music for it. I don't get paid from it, but um, it's supporting me because it's like more people might be like, oh, we need to get a song. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's it though, bro.
Beautiful. I appreciate you, my brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bro.